The title is The Inherent Strengths in Kinship Families, Healing in Kinship Care. And in this discussion, I want to address three goals, three objectives. One is to identify the emotions and feelings from which children are recovering and healing. And that question was a perfect segue to dealing with that. The loss of parents, the loss of childhood. Explain why relatives and kin can be more effective in that healing process compared to foster care and adoption. And then the third goal is to talk about the development approaches in assisting children to healing and being resilient while in kinship care. Now, this is going to sound real strange. You know, it just hit me while I was talking because all this is around the kids, but I'm just going to switch gears right now and tell you, as a caregiver, you've got to be okay in order for the kids to be okay. You have to have engaged in some healing in order to help your children heal. And I hope that makes sense. I'm going to make it real for you. You know, here's a situation that I want you to think of. I want you to go back to those moments or to that moment when you realized that the children were coming to live with you. I want you to go back to that moment when you realized that they weren't leaving you. And I want you to answer this question. And I want you to go back to remembering and realizing the reason they're coming into your care. So go back to that moment where they're coming, where they're not going, where the reality is hitting you. And here's my question to you. How did this change your life? And how did it affect you emotionally? And please put that in the chat. You can just use one-word answers, two-word answers. How did this change your life? And how did it affect you emotionally?
Tawny responds, wow, what a roller coaster. Nanette, different. Caroline, it changed everything and I was overwhelmed.
Okay.
Everything was upside down. Emotions were everywhere.
Okay. What were some of those emotions? You can add that to your chat.
Scared, nervous.
Yes.
Fear.
Mm-hmm.
First overwhelmed, then acceptance.
Oh, wow. Sound like somebody went through loss and grief.
Sadness and disappointment in her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Anger.
Anger. Okay.
Felt a strong responsibility to do good by the child, but grief for my life.
Read that again, Candy.
Felt strong responsibility to do good by the child, grief for my life.
Grief for my life. Wow. Okay. The reason why I repeated that was because I was feeling love and hurt all at the same time. That was the emotion that I got out of that. Go ahead, Candy.
Okay, that's all we have for right now. So
that's enough. That covers it all. Now, I hope you can understand me when I said you've got to be okay for the kids to be okay. You have to be healed or be involved in the healing process if you're talking about healing your children. One of the strengths in kinship care has to do with having those shared emotions, feeling the stress that the children are feeling the hurt and loss that the children are feeling, and that the children can trigger you. In fact, the emotions that you just identified for yourself are very similar to the emotions that your children are experiencing as well. And I'll repeat that again. If you think about that list that I went through, loss, anger, rejection, feelings of desperation, of anger, feelings of hurt, confusion, that almost mimicked what the children were experiencing. They're feeling the loss, shock, grief, anger, shame, embarrassment, responsibility, regrets. You see that list, folks? The same feelings that the children are feeling, you are feeling as well. So that's why you have to be okay for the children to be okay. And this may sound real selfish, but you have to be able to put your feelings and make those feelings a priority. And you know the reason why I'm saying that is because you've got to practice what you preach. The kids are looking at you. They know you're hurt. They know you feel bad. They know you would. Remember that one comment, disappointed in my sister. That child knows you were disappointed in their mother. So they need to see, and you can't hide those feelings. See, that's one of the differences of foster care and from adoption. Your feelings and loss and grief are personal. You had a pre-existing relationship with that birth parent. Foster parents, adoptive parents don't know the birth parent, don't have a pre-existing relationship, don't have feelings for them. Now, don't get me wrong, if they stay involved with the family long enough, they can almost be like extended family. But at the point of placing that child with that foster parent or adoptive parent, they don't have a connection with the parents or with the family. So they don't have these feelings. They may have empathy, but they don't have these feelings and personal feelings of loss and grief that you have. And it's because you do have those feelings, and the children can see the hurt. They can see the loss. They can hear the arguments. I remember this one child was saying, I can tell when my grandmom's talking to my mom. I said, what do you mean? How can you tell? Oh, she's got that look. She starts going with her tongue. I can't imitate it too well, but the child knew when she talked to her mother. And the feelings were so evident. So because your feelings are evident, because you've got to be able to talk about those feelings, because they are obvious, and because you need to be able to practice what you preach, that's why you have to be aware of your feelings. You have to begin healing your feelings if you're going to be able to help and heal the child. All right, I'm going to take you back to another moment, which is personal for you. What were the reasons for children coming into your care?